Why do we build our own prisons? We work so hard to be comfortable. We want the soft bed. We want the easy job. We want the predictable life. But have you ever noticed, the more comfortable you become, the less alive you feel? We think we are building a sanctuary. But what if the walls we build to keep the danger out are actually keeping the life out? This was the golden cage of a man named Caspian. He lived in a place called the Garden of Ease. It was a perfect world. The sun was always gentle, never too hot. The air was always a pleasant temperature. Soft, ripe fruit hung from every tree, and crystal clear water flowed in manicured streams. He never had to lift a finger. He was safe, protected from every hardship the world could offer. But Caspian was incredibly weak. His muscles, unused and untested, were soft like dough. His mind, unchallenged by problems or puzzles, was dull and slow. Day after day, he would sit on a velvet cushion, staring at the high, impenetrable wall that surrounded his garden. He'd stare toward the distant, hazy outline of mountains he could barely see, and a deep, aching boredom would fill him. It was a strange feeling. He had everything a person could want, yet he felt like he was rotting from the inside out. He was a king in a kingdom of one, and his crown felt heavier than stone. He was safe, but he was not alive. He was simply waiting. Then one day, the impossible happened. A storm, more violent than any he had ever known, raged outside his walls. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, and the sky turned a dark, angry gray. Caspian cowered in his perfect little pavilion, terrified of the noise of the raw power he could feel shaking the very ground. When the storm finally passed and the sun returned to its usual gentle glow, a strange new sight greeted him. A section of his perfect garden wall had collapsed, crumbled into a pile of stone and dust, and through the gap, a figure stepped. It was a man unlike any Caspian had ever seen. His name was Orion. He was dirty. His clothes were torn and frayed. His hands were covered in scars and calluses, and his face was etched with lines carved by wind and sun. He was shivering from the cold wind that now blew through the breach in the wall. But his eyes were burning with an intensity, a fire that Caspian had never seen in anyone, least of all in the mirror. He looked tired, but he also looked profoundly, intensely alive. Caspian, seeing this battered man, was filled with a mixture of horror and pity. He rushed over. "You poor man, you are hurt, you're freezing. Come in quickly. Stay here where it is safe and soft. We have food, warm beds, everything you need." Orion looked around the pristine garden, at the untouched fruit, the flawless green grass. Then he looked at Caspian's soft, unblemished hands and his silken clothes. A slow laugh rumbled in his chest. "Safe? No, thank you. This place smells of sleep, of long, deep sleep." Caspian was confused. He couldn't understand. But out there is pain. It is cold. It is hard. There are storms and sharp rocks. Why would anyone choose that? Orion nodded, his gaze never leaving Caspian's. "Yes," he said, his voice calm and steady. "And that is why I am strong." He stepped closer and gently lifted Caspian's arm, pointing to a delicate golden chain that Caspian wore on his wrist as a symbol of his wealth. "You wear gold, Caspian. It is beautiful, but it is still a chain. You think you have built a paradise, but you have only built a more comfortable cage. Comfort is a slow poison. It tastes sweet, but it puts your soul to sleep. Every day you avoid a challenge, a small part of you dies. Caspian stared at the chain on his wrist, as if seeing it for the first time. It suddenly felt heavy. Orion continued, his voice softening but losing none of its power. A ship in the harbor is safe, Caspian. It is protected from the wind and the waves. But that is not what ships are built for. A ship is built to face the storm, to sail the vast, unknown ocean. If the wood never feels the slap of the rough waves, if the sails never strain against the wind, the wood dries out. It becomes brittle. It cracks and rots right there in the safety of the harbor. You are seeking a life without struggle. But a life without struggle is a life without growth. A muscle that never lifts a weight withers away. A mind that never solves a problem becomes dull. You are not safe here, Caspian. You are dying here. Those words struck Caspian like a bolt of lightning. Everything clicked into place. He looked down at his own soft, useless hands. Then he looked at Orion's scarred, capable ones. He looked at the high, imprisoning wall that he had always seen as his protector. He finally understood. His safety had cost him his vitality. His comfort had cost him his strength. He saw that Orion, despite his scars and torn clothes, was truly, vibrantly alive, while he, Caspian, surrounded by every luxury, was merely existing. He realized that the discomfort he had feared his entire life, the cold, the wind, the struggle, was not the enemy. It was the only thing that could wake him up. In that moment, a decision was made. Without a word, Caspian reached up and unclasped the golden chain from his wrist, letting it fall silently onto the soft grass. He took off his fine silk robe, leaving him in simple trousers. He walked past Orion, straight to the breach in the wall. The cold wind hit his bare skin, and he shivered. But for the first time in his life, a genuine, unforced smile spread across his face. He felt the cold, and in it, he felt alive. He stepped through the hole in the wall, leaving the Garden of Ease behind forever. He looked up at the rugged mountain that loomed in the distance, its peak disappearing into the clouds. It looked impossible, it looked terrifying, and it looked beautiful. Orion came and stood beside him, a quiet understanding passing between them. Together, they began to climb. It was hard. Caspian's feet slipped on the loose gravel. His muscles, soft for so long, screamed in protest. His lungs burned in the thin air. But with every painful step he took up that mountain, with every scrape and every stumble, he felt the invisible golden chains that had bound him for so long begin to fall away. He was no longer safe, and for the first time, he was free. The moral of this story is that comfort is not the goal of life, but often a trap that limits our potential. True freedom and real growth are only found when we have the courage to break the chains of our own safety and willingly step into the discomfort of the unknown. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that challenges the way we think about life.